Hello students, welcome to all. Myself Amol Palve. In a last lecture we study about the Kepler's laws of planetary motion from the chapter gravitation. Now today we are going to study the next topic from gravitation, that is universal law of gravitation. So let's see what is the universal law. Universal law of gravitation. So let's see what is the universal law of gravitation. When objects are released near the surface of the earth, they always fall down to the ground. That is, earth attracts the object towards itself. Now, when heavy and light objects, when released when the same height, fall towards the earth at the same speed, that is, they have the same acceleration. So when we release some heavy and light objects at a time, then they fall on the earth at the same speed. That is, they both have heavy and light object, both have same acceleration there. Newton stated that universal law of gravitation which lead to explanation of terrestrial gravitation. Terrestrial means related to earth gravitation. So here it also explains that Kepler's laws. This universal law also explains the Kepler's laws, provide the reason behind the observed motion of planet around the sun. So Newton studied the motion of moon around the earth. It was known that the moon completes one revolution. Moon completes one revolution. Moon complete one revolution around earth in 27.3 days. That is, we can say that the periodic time of revolution of moon around the earth is 27.3 days. The distance from the earth to moon, the distance between earth and moon, distance between earth and moon is 3.85 into 10 raised to 5 kilometer. So let's see the periodic time of revolution of moon around the earth is 27.3 days. The distance of earth and between earth and moon is 3 into 85 into 10 raised to 5 kilometer. The motion of moon is in almost a circular orbit around the earth with constant angular velocity omega. Omega is the constant angular velocity of the moon. As it is a circular motion, the moon must be constantly acted upon by a force directed towards earth, which is at the center of the circle. Here we know the moon is revolved in exactly circular orbit. Of that circular orbit, in the earth is exactly at the center. So it means that the moon performs circular motion there, and to maintain the circular motion, a force is required which is directed towards the center and along the radius. That force is called centripetal force. So hence centripetal force is equal to, now we know what is the centripetal force. So centripetal force is equal to m/r omega square, where m is the mass, r is the radius, m is the mass of moon, r is the radius of circular orbit, and omega square, omega is the angular velocity which is constant here. Now here also we know according to Newton's second law, we know according to Newton's second law, F is equal to ma, that is mass into acceleration. So here we know now the necessary force required to maintain the circular motion is provided by the centripetal force. So we can write here, therefore, if force Fma is equal to mr square, omega square, because here centripetal force is mr omega square, and the force Newton's law of motion, according to Newton's law of motion, the force is mass into acceleration. So here m get cancelled. We get the formula for A is equal to r omega square. So this is the acceleration. A is equal to r omega square. Now we know omega is called angular velocity, and the omega is equal to 2 pi by t. So here put the value of omega is equal to 2 pi by t here. So therefore we get A is equal to r in bracket 4 pi square upon t square, that is the value of omega square is here. Now substitute all the values of r, pi and t here. We get A is equal to, r means the distance between moon and earth, which is 3.85 into 10 raised to 5 kilometer. So here we have to convert that kilometer into meter, so it becomes 10 raised to 3 into 4 is there into 3.142 bracket square, okay, divided by t square, that is the 27.3. So 27.3 days. So we have to convert it days into second. So here 27.3 into 24 into 60 into 60. So if I simplify it, we get here the value of acceleration. So A is equal to 0.0027 meter per second square. So see here the value A, which is 0.0027 meter per second, that is the value of acceleration here. This is the acceleration of moon. So here the moon is revolving around the earth with an acceleration of 0.0027. So here this is an acceleration of moon which is revolving around the earth. Okay, so this is the acceleration of moon, and which is directed towards the center, that is directed. See, this is the centripetal acceleration which is directed towards the center, and towards the center earth is there, so it is directed towards the center of earth, because this is called centripetal acceleration there. So here we get the new value here, that is the acceleration of moon around the earth. A is equal to 0.0027 meter per second square. Now here that is center here, this is the acceleration with which that moon is revolving. Now Newton's assumed that the law of nature are the same for earthly object and for celestial bodies. As this acceleration is much smaller than the acceleration felt by bodies near the surface of the earth, he concluded that the acceleration felt by an object due to gravitational force of the earth must be decreasing with the distance of the body from the center of the earth. Now here, see, Newton's compare the actual acceleration of body near the surface of earth and with the acceleration of moon revolving around the earth. He concluded that the acceleration near the surface of the earth is greater than the acceleration of the moon, and from this he concluded that the acceleration felt by the object near the surface of the earth is due to the gravitational force, and hence due to gravitational force which is by the earth must be decreasing with the distance of the body and from the earth. So therefore we have acceleration of object. So acceleration of object at the surface of the earth divided by acceleration of moon. If we take the ratio of acceleration of object at earth surface and acceleration of moon, then it is equal to, we know the acceleration of at the earth surface is 9.8 and the acceleration of moon is 0.0027. So this value, the ratio is nearly equal to 3600 there. So from this also we can calculate the another value here. Here Newtons take the ratios of distance there. So see here distance also consider another ratio there. Distance of moon from earth surface. Distance of moon from earth divided by distance of object. Distance of object from earth. Now see here. Here we consider the object is on the earth surface. Okay. So here we take the distance as 3.85 into 10 raised to 5 kilometer divided by here if that object is on the earth surface, then the distance is nearly equal to the radius of the earth, which is 63878 kilometer. The radius of earth is 6378 kilometer there. So here we have to use the distance of object from earth surface, and we consider that object is on the earth surface, then it is equal to radius of the earth, so 6378 kilometer. If I take the ratio here, then it is equal to 60. Now here, thus from these two equation, from these two ratio, here the ratio of acceleration is equal to 3600 and here the ratio of distance is 60. So here, thus, therefore, we can write from these two equation, from the ratio of this acceleration and from the ratio of distance, we write the relation here. See, acceleration of object divided by acceleration of moon is equal to, in bracket, distance of moon is equal to distance of moon divided by distance of object from earth. Both distance we measured the distance from earth, so distance of object, and here bracket square, because the value of the distance is 60 and value of acceleration is the square of 60, 3600. So here we get the new relation, acceleration of object upon acceleration of moon is equal to distance of moon upon distance of object bracket square. So here if we observe this equation, then we can say that the acceleration is inversely proportional to distance square, because see here acceleration of object is in numerator and other side distance of object is in denominator. Therefore, so from this, therefore we can write the acceleration of object is inversely proportional to distance square. Okay, so acceleration of object is inversely proportional to distance square, but we know according to Newton's second law, F is equal to ma. So from this we can write, therefore if F is equal to ma, then we can write force is also inversely proportional to distance square. Okay, so force is also inversely proportional to distance square, and from this the force is directly proportional to mass, and force is directly proportional to mass. So therefore we can write this force is directly proportional to mass and upon distance square. Similarly, an object also exerts a force on the earth. So this is the force exerted by earth on the object. So similarly, object will also exert the force. Object also exerts a force on earth, which is Fe is proportional to capital M upon R square. So where capital M is the mass of earth. Capital M is what? Mass of earth. And in the above equation, small m is the mass of object. Small m is what? Mass of object. So see here, the force exerted by earth on object is proportional, depend upon mass of object upon distance square, and the force exerted on earth is depend upon mass of earth upon r square. So according to Newton's third law, every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So according to Newton's third law of motion, the force on body due to the earth has to be equal to the force on earth due to the object. Hence the force F is also proportional to the mass of earth. Hence Newton concludes that gravitational force between the earth and the object is directly proportional to small m and capital M, that is mass of object into mass of earth, and inversely proportional to distance square. Okay, so this is the dependence of force here, because according to Newton's law, here it said that the force is depend upon mass of body and mass of earth also, and force is exerted on body by earth is equal and opposite to the forces exerted on earth by the body. So due to that, he write the final statement for force is proportional to mass of object, product of mass, and square inversely proportional to square of distance. So from this, Newton conclude the generalized statement for Newton's law of gravitation, and that is every particle of matter attracts other particle of matter with a force. See, every particle of matter attracts other particle of matter with a force which is directly proportional to product of the mass, their masses, and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. So this is the mathematical statement and theoretical statement of Newton's law of gravitation. See, read it again. So see, what is the statement? Every particle of matter attracts other particle of matter with a force which is directly proportional to the product of their masses and inversely proportional to the square of the distance between them. This law is applicable to all material objects in the universe. This law is applicable to all objects in the universe. या युनिवर्स मधल्या सगळ्या मटेरियल ऑब्जेक्ट्स वर हा लॉ ऍप्लिकेबल आहे. सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज, हेन्स इट इज नोन एज युनिव्हर्सल लॉ ऑफ ग्रॅव्हिटेशन, because this law is applicable for any object in the universe. So this is called the Newton's law of gravitation. Let's see once again the statement of Newton's law of gravitation. Every particle of matter attracts every other particle of matter with a force which is directly proportional to the square of the distance between them. So this is called the Newton's law of gravitation, and this law is called universal law because this law is applicable for any material object in the universe. Okay, so this is the Newton's law. Now here see, if two bodies of masses m1 and m2, so see the diagram. Here in the diagram we observe the two bodies. So two bodies of masses m1 and m2 are separated by a distance r. Then the gravitational force of attraction between them can be written as, if see here m1 and m2, these two bodies are separated by distance r, then the gravitational force between these two bodies is equal to F is equal to G m1 m2 upon r square, where m1 m2 are the mass of two bodies, r is the distance between two bodies, and this G is called universal gravitational constant. G is called universal gravitational constant. This G is called as universal gravitational constant, and the formula for Newton's law of gravitation is G m1 m2 upon r square. The value of G is all over in the universe. The value of G is constant, and the value of G is capital G is equal to 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. G is equal to 6.67 into 10 raised to minus 11 Newton meter square per kg square. The dimensions of universal gravitational constant are G. The dimensions of G are L raised to 3, M raised to minus 1 and T raised to minus 2. So these are the dimensions of universal gravitational constant. This universal gravitational constant is an attractive force. This is only attractive type of force. Gravitational force is attractive force. It acts along the line joining the two particles. This force acts along the line joining the two particles. This force acts along the line joining the two particles. The force exerted by two bodies on each other have the same magnitude but have opposite directions. So the force exerted by m1 on m2 and m2 and on m1. So the force exerted by these two have the same magnitude but opposite in direction. So this is the magnitude of Newton's law of gravitation or gravitational force is there. Now here, see in the figure. So I draw the figure, I take that figure here. So see in the figure now. So see in the figure, what is given? Figure shows 2 point masses m1 and m2 with position vectors r1 bar and r2 bar. Position vector gives the position of m1 m2 with respect to origin. Here O is the origin. The position vector of m2 with respect to m1. See here position vector. Position vector of m2 with respect to m1 is, see position vector of m2 with respect to m1 is r21 bar is equal to r2 bar minus r1 bar. See r21 means position vector of 2 with respect to 1. Then therefore position, similarly we can write position vector of m1 with respect to m2 is, that is r12 bar is equal to r1 bar minus r2 bar. So here this is the value of position vector. Now here if we saw these two formulas, if we observe these two formulas, then we can write R21 bar is equal to minus of R12 bar. R21 bar is equal to minus of R21 bar, but these are only opposite in direction. If we take the magnitude R is equal to mod of R21 bar is equal to mod of R12 bar. Here the magnitude of both is equal, and the formula of force for force on M2 due to M1. So here now see Newton's now see the Newton's gravitational force. Now here how we write the formula in vector form? See, force on M2 due to M1 is F21 bar. See, on M2, so on I write 2 first, and due to M1 then 1, then after 2 the 1 is, so force on 2 by 1 bar is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 M1 M2 upon, so here R square into the unit vector which is directed in the direction of R21 cap. So here where R21 cap is the unit vector from M2 to M1, and the force F21 bar is directed from M1 to M2. Okay. Similarly, we can write the force on M1 due to M2 is, so here F12 bar is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 into M1 M2 upon R square into R12 cap. So here if I write R12 cap, then I have to write here minus, and if I write here R12, then it becomes plus. Okay, so unit vector which I write here if I write minus, then R21, if I write plus, then R12. Okay, because here we observe that these two are opposite here, negative vector, so we can write these two equation also in the format. So we can write it also here. See, F21 bar, here if I write F21 bar, then it is equal to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 M1 M2 upon R square, and here I write R21 cap. So here this is plus. If I write R21, if I write F21, then R12 here, because R21 is negative here, R21, then R12 here, this is positive, and if I write the formula for F12 bar, then it is 1 upon 4 pi epsilon 0 M1 M2 upon R square. Then here see, this is negative, so if I write it positive, then R21 cap. So this is also the formula for vector Newton's law of gravitation, but in vector form. So here from these two equations we can write, therefore we can write F21 bar is equal to minus of F12 bar. So the force exerted by 1 on 2 is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction with the force exerted by 2 on 1. So here this is the vector form of Newton's law of gravitation. Now this law refers to 2 point masses. For a collection of point masses, the force on any one of them is the vector sum of the gravitational force exerted by all other points. So here we write the formula for only 2 point masses. Now if we have to consider the formula for collection of point masses, then the total force is the vector sum of force exerted by the individual objects on any one object. So here to understand this, let's see the diagram. Here the resultant force on point mass M1, see here 3 masses are there which are exerting the force on M1. So the force exerted on point mass M1 is the vector sum of force exerted by F12 bar. Sorry, see in the diagram what is F12 bar. This is the force exerted on here. See here how I write it, force on M1 due to M2, then 12, then it is force on M1 due to M2, it is F12 bar. So force exerted on M1 by M2, it is denoted by F12 bar. Then F13 bar, this is the force exerted on M by M3. F14 bar, this is the force exerted on M by 4. Respectively, the masses M2, M3 and M4 are also attracted towards M1, and there is also mutual attraction between the masses M2, M3 and M4, but these forces are not shown in the diagram. See here only the force interaction between M1 to M2, M1 to M3, M1 to M2, M4 is shown here. The force which is exerted by M3 on M2 or M2 on M3, M3 and M4, M4 and M2, these are not shown in the diagram. Okay, now here, so here for n particle, so if we have to find out the force on M1, then the resultant force on M1, I write that force F1 bar, that resultant is given by the vector sum of all these forces. So this is the vector sum of all these forces here. So this is the total force exerted on the first particle, which is equal to the addition of all the forces here. So this is about the force exerted by on M1 due to other particles, other object M2 of mass M2, M3 and M4. So for here, hence for n particle, we write the formula as for n particle, force on ith particle is, ith mass is. So for n particle system, we have to find out the force on ith mass, then Fi bar is equal to summation of J is equal to 1 to n F ij bar. So here I is not equal to j only, that is the condition, and this is the equation. Here we have to put the value, see n, so put the value of j from 1 to n, and I is there. So if I put Fi1, then force exerted on I due to 1, Fi2, force exerted on I due to 2, and so on up to n. So this is the total force, a vector sum of total force exerted on ith particle due to n particle there. So this is about the Newton's law of gravitation. So today we stop here. Next point we discuss about it in tomorrow's lecture. Thank you.